going on, vibers? It's your boy J.S. Vaughn. And guess what, y'all? We back with another one, y'all. Today's track, I'm not going to even try to pronounce it, you know what I mean? But it's by your boy Akila, you know what I mean? Hey, man, I'm not going to even try this time, yo, because I might get it wrong and I don't want to get it wrong and whatnot, you know what I mean? So let's jump right into it, fam. Let's go.
Now, if we are concerned with our awakening, it's because we've been asleep. Now, we were put to sleep by historical catastrophes. And you know, when people get into an accident, they need to go to sleep in order to survive the accident. If you're totally conscious when it happens, you won't survive.
How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi.
Maangamizi meaning African Holocaust, cause we paid a hell of a cost and don't really know what was lost. And the process ain't ever stopped since black civilization.
It's the all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi.
Maangamizi meaning African Holocaust, cause we paid a hell of a cost.
African Holocaust. Oh, this is gonna get real fucking deep right now. I could already sense it.
And don't really know what was lost. And the process ain't ever stopped since black civilization dropped through internal greed and external plot. The same ones that taught the ancient Greeks Greece and Rome helped bring to their knees. Then Islam spread across northern Africa with slavery and massacres. Too many hurt, refused to convert. Spread south and west, people dispersed. Christianity's not alone in using race and religion for power to expand. Desert caravans took slaves across sand, where they staged a revolt of the Zanj.
So Muslims, Christianity. He's just basically saying, like, on some real shit, like every freaking racism was basically used all over the world back in the days to actually use as a means to advance society. You know what I mean? So instead of basically slave labor and things of that nature and whatnot, like when you look at it in a face value, you kind of see how accurate that shit is, you know what I mean?
Drop for internal greed and external plot. The same ones that taught the ancient Greeks Greece and Rome helped bring to their knees. Then Islam spread across northern Africa with slavery and massacres. Too many hurt, refused to convert. Spread south and west, people dispersed. Christianity's not alone in using race and religion for power to expand. Desert caravans took slaves across sand, where they staged a revolt of the Zanj. Enemies always invented mythologies, curse of Ham, so-called prophecy. After the migration, there was some reinstatement of autonomous nations. Then floating on the waves of the seas came a plague, a genocidal disease. With arms and heads, they looked like men. Really, they were just dogs on two legs when they first came. Some of them.
What the fuck?
Revolt of the Zanj. Enemies always invented mythologies, curse of Ham, so-called prophecy. After the migration, there was some reinstatement of autonomous nations. Then floating on the waves of the seas came a plague, a genocidal disease. With arms and heads, they looked like men. Really, they were just dogs on two legs when they first came. Some of our people said go.
They were just They were just dogs on two legs. I'm trying to get that bar right there, because it sounds like
Christianity's not alone in using race and religion for power to expand. Desert caravans took slaves across sand, where they staged a revolt of the Zanj. Enemies always invented mythologies, curse of Ham, so-called prophecy. After the migration, there was some reinstatement.
Hold up, there you go. I got it now, I got it. One more time.
Dispersed. Christianity's not alone in using race and religion for power to expand. Desert caravans took slaves across sand, where they staged a revolt of the Zanj. Enemies always invented mythologies, curse of Ham.
Enemies always building mythologies and whatnot. You know what I mean? Basically building a set agenda for people to believe in that are fact, but they're not fact. You know what I mean? There's something created for you to do what you're supposed to fucking do. You know what I mean? It's like a, it's like a, it, I don't know. I don't wanna freaking step on anybody's freaking culture or anything like that. But like, basically, if I tell you that, oh, we were great people, and I give you a freaking great ass fucking story to follow and shit, and then tell you, and just mislead you in a way that is profiting you. You know what I mean? But it's not profiting. It's profiting the person that's telling you the mythology, but it's not profiting the person that's being told it. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I think it makes sense. But let's go.
So-called prophecy. After the migration, there was some written statement of autonomy.
And that's what he's autonomous.
Nations, then floating on the waves of the seas. Came a plague, a genocidal disease with arms and heads. They looked like men. Really, they were just dogs on two legs when they first.
Yeah, autonomous nation that looked like men, but they were just dogs and shit. You know what I mean? So that's a fictitious notion that motherfuckers was given, and they ate into it and shit. But it was let's go. It was a fable.
People said go, most welcomed them into our homes. We didn't know they had hearts of stone, frozen by Western Europe's cold. Also, there were scumbags among us, willing to work for white conquerors. Honest with that collaboration began the largest forced migration in the.
He talking about them scumbags amongst us that helped the freaking white slave owners freaking do whatever they had to freaking do to move forward and whatnot. Meaning, like, selling slaves to white people and things of that nature and whatnot. I'm assuming, you know what I mean? Let me see.
Western Europe's cold. Also, there were scumbags among us, willing to work for white conquerors. Honest with that collaboration began the largest forced migration in the history of nations.
How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi. It's the Maangamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi. It's the Maangamizi.
How many millions dead at the bottom of the ocean, thrown overboard like property stolen or jumped overboard, rather than be sold on a mother with a baby in arms? Hold on, what awaited was not just enslavement, but a genocidal impulse craving. They committed unspeakable abuses to make a nigger from an African human. Took a woman ready to give birth, tied her limbs to 4 posts held firm in a.
If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi. It's the Maangamizi.
How many millions dead at the bottom of the ocean, thrown overboard like property stolen or jumped overboard, rather than be sold on a mother with a baby in arms? Hold on, what awaited was not just enslavement, but a genocidal impulse craving. They committed unspeakable abuses to make a nigger from an African human. Took a woman ready to give birth.
That's the part I'm missing right there. Yo. I'm missing something here. It's either I'm thinking too hard.
The ocean thrown overboard like property stolen or jumped overboard, rather than be sold on a mother with a baby in arms. Hold on, what awaited was not just enslavement, but a genocidal impulse craving. They committed unspeakable abuses to make a nigger from an African human. Took a woman ready.
They committing unethical statements, movements of making a African human. That's the part I'm not getting.
But a genocidal impulse craving. They committed unspeakable abuses to make a nigger from an African human. Took a woman ready to give birth, tied her limbs to 4 posts held firm in the main square, made every slave watch, covered her in raw meat like dogs if anyone.
Well, I think he's saying to make a person of African less than human and whatnot, because what he's describing there is like some shit that nobody should freaking be going through with the freaking because that's something that was done a lot back in the day. You know what I mean? Like they would freaking take you in front of people and whatnot, and freaking hang you or freaking do unseemly things to you and shit in front of a freaking audience and whatnot, so the people would know, like, yo, this is what fucking happens if, you know what I mean, you don't pay attention or you don't do what we tell you to do. You know what I mean? Or you don't abide by the law, whatever the law might be. You know what I mean? So I understand that part, and it's sad because I was watching freaking what was it freaking this this doc this documentary on freaking um what's the freaking George Washington and whatnot. I forgot the freaking first president, and he used that technique and whatnot against some of the military that wasn't paying attention to him at a time, and they were the same color as him. You know what I mean? And he committed them to be hung and whatnot, and because they were going the opposite way during war times and shit. You know what I mean? So, and he did it in front of other soldiers so he could actually teach him a lesson. You know what I mean? Don't go against the what we about. You know what I mean? Or you might just die. You know?
To give birth, tied the limbs to 4 posts held firm in the main square, made every slave watch, covered her in raw meat, loud cutting dogs. If anyone watching, even a relative, made a sound, killed them for the hell of it. This was every day, not the exception. The science of gynecology was perfected on black women, no anesthetic. Said a nigga bitch couldn't feel pain, pathetic. Hang a man from a
and they're talking about shit that they tested out before on black people before anybody else.
Tree cut off his penis, forced people to eat their own feces, put people in zoos, in a cage, chimpanzee, black human, ape. And it was upon this here atrocity Europe became the dominant economy. Now they play games, pretend it's a...
It's funny that he said that shit about the zoo and shit. Just recently and whatnot, they discovered the Bronx Zoo in New York and whatnot apologized for having a black man. I forgot how long ago it was, as one of the exhibits at the zoo. You know what I mean? And you know, it's like the history of slavery and the history of racism and things has always been inbreded and whatnot, and until we learn how to face the raw situations of what happened in the past and whatnot, and it being shared and talked about, I don't see no way that people could actually move on from that. You know what I mean? There has to be a point of acceptance, an honest level of acceptance between all freaking people. You know what I mean? And when I'm talking about racism, I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about like everybody. You know what I mean? Because everybody have like a sense of prejudice. You know what I mean? That's something that you can't lie about. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Chimpanzee, black human, ape. And it was upon this here atrocity Europe became the dominant economy. Now they play games, pretend it's about names. It's a scheme for unequal trade. Imagine the largest companies today, if all of their employees got no pay. For all of the centuries profit was made, black skin was always branded slave. Even the child of the master's rape could be killed and sold, cause black blood in the veins. But the ancestors fought back, got free. Probably ain't heard of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Probably don't know the Haitian Revolution caused the French to sell half of America, nor the role that Africans played in the Civil War for that same America. If you ain't heard of any of the Maroons or Bogle, probably believe what they told you. But if they set Africans free, cause all of a sudden they grew a conscience, tell me this: why were the masters given compensation and those who suffered not given a thing? Why did they then invade Africa, make African slaves in their own homes, with the Belgians killing 10 million souls in the Congo alone? Why then Jim Crow? Why apartheid? Why did Black Wall Street burn that night? Why collaborators will work for such evil?
Yo, he is like touching so much points back to back to back to back, yo. Come on, man. Like he's like Black Wall Street, freaking Jim Crow laws and all this type of shit. He's touching all the corners, and he's not missing a step. You know what I mean? I'm really liking the way that he's actually freaking developing this track right here. You know what I mean? Definitely dope. And it's almost to the level that he doesn't really care. You know what I mean? and it's a good thing because there's a lot of people out there that don't know anything about what he's talking about and whatnot, and they should.
Why did they then invade Africa, make African slaves in their own homes with the Belgians killing 10 million souls? In the Congo alone, why then Jim Crow? Why apartheid? Why the Black Wall Street burn that night? Why collaborators will work for such evil, willing to be tools against their own people? Why Africa? Why? Imperialism for the new age with a brown face on it. That's right, imperialism for the new age with a brown face on it.
How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi, it's the Maangamizi.
Some will try their best to justify this torture, asking you who the slaves were brought from. As if we don't know, tell them get the hell out. Every genocide ever has had sellouts, and the largest wars of human.
Oh, you heard that? They said they try to justify the what happened in the past by saying like who were the slaves bought from and shit. You know what I mean? Because the slaves were bought from freaking black kings. Get the fuck out of here, man. Where their freaking minds were all fucked up too. I mean, like at the end of the day and whatnot, whenever you have like a set pyramid starting from the top and ending from the top being the most freaking highest and wealthiest and freaking well-known individual that you could be and whatnot, and bottoms being all the freaking essential workers, I could say, and slaves and things of that nature and shit. Guess who's gonna be most corrupt? You know what I mean? That motherfucker on top and shit. That just means like it don't matter what color that motherfucker is. It could be white, black, orange, purple, yellow, whatever color that person is, man. The only thing that motherfucker is going to be thinking about in his mind is how can I hold on to my power? You know what I mean? How can I hold on to what I got and whatnot? Meanwhile, these motherfuckers on the bottom suffer. You know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when people say like, yo, there's that next, yo, the kings from Africa was selling motherfuckers to, so therefore, it's black on black crime. Hey man, that's different levels. You know what I mean? At the end of the day and whatnot, those are different levels of people. You know what I mean? People on top are always corrupt. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's just something that I feel. You know what I mean? Let's go.
People in Western Europe, some of your rationale is cool to kill Frenchmen. They kill Germans that look like them. Absurd, right? But when your skin's white, different set of rules you can't abide by. Dark stuff.
I'm just saying, like on some real shit, man. There's different laws that abide, man, or whether you're white or freaking black and shit like that. You know what I mean? And that type of shit exists like to the present day. You know what I mean? Black people get in trouble for like the littlest things and whatnot, and meanwhile, freaking. I don't know, man. I don't want to put my feet in my mouth and whatnot because I don't know. Let's go.
Absurd, right? But when your skin's white, different set of rules you can't abide by. Dark suffering's not humanized, no surprise, we still see ourselves through their eyes. Darkies became legally human during the course of our parents' life.
He said we still see ourselves through their eyes and shit, yo. Hold up, man. That's crazy. That's something that you have to look inward to see and shit. You know what I mean? That was bars right there, yo.
Wars of humans were fought between people of Western Europe. Some of your rationale is cool to kill Frenchmen. They kill Germans that look like them. Absurd, right? But when your skin's white, different set of rules you can't abide by. Dark suffering's not humanized, no surprise, we still see ourselves through their eyes.
Dark suffering is not humanized. It's crazy how we still see ourselves through their eyes and shit. You know what I mean? What does that mean? We still see ourselves through their eyes. We still see ourselves through their eyes. Like suffering is not something that. So basically, he's trying to say like at the end of the day, a lot of damn, I can't. I think he's trying to say like yo on some real shit like we brainwash and we don't have our own image and whatnot. And sometimes like when we look as a black man onto TV and whatnot, we kind of still have the notion that we want to be more like them and less like us thinking. You know what I mean? Maybe that would freaking change the way that we are treated and whatnot. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it is. I don't get it though. I get it, but I don't get it. I want to get it. You know what I mean? If you guys got a good way of interpreting that, you know what I mean? Please put me on because like I think I got it, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, let's go.
As darkies became legally human during the course of our parents' life, and the freedoms we have only occur because the ancestors spilled their blood to the earth. It changed that much?
Yeah, man. I like that, man. Darkies stuff finally got a key to life. The only reason why we got to the place that where we at right now as freaking minorities and Africans and whatnot is because our ancestors, man, died. You know what I mean? Died for the rights that we have now. Died for all that type of shit. You know what I mean? And sacrificed a lot to make these changes and whatnot. So we should really appreciate the things and work hard so things don't turn back to the way that they used to back in the day. At any moment, that shit could happen. You know what I mean? So you have to gravitate and basically never stop believing, you know? Let's go.
The world's darker people still the most poor, so it's our task to put an end to this. Even those like me with a heritage mix, if a knife's in your back, 9 inches.
And that's, he said, yo, what he said is facts, man. Like, yo, man, listen, man. The darkest people in the world are still the poorest people in the world and whatnot. And at the end of the day, he said, even like people like me, because he happens to be mixed and whatnot. And he's saying like, all it takes is like a little percentage of black in you and shit. And people have like some type of stigma against you, you know what I mean? Good or bad and whatnot, that's just what the case is, you know what I mean? It's sad, but I mean, like, that's what it is. I mean, yeah. Let's go. I almost pressed I almost stopped recording just now. Let's go.
And it's only been pulled out 6 when the wound starts healing and we stop bleeding and bleaching. Can it begin to fix when the plague of self-hate?
That's what he was talking about. He was talking about self-hate because when I was like, yo, he was talking about when we stop bleaching, and that means like, yo, trying to be more European and stuff and shit like that. We need to have freaking respect for we need to have love for ourselves and where we come from before we could ever make any changes and shit. We have to respect the fact that we African American, and the dark shit is not a freaking negative, and it's definitely a freaking positive. That's how I mean, like, on some real shit, since I was born, that's how I felt, you know what I mean? So it was and nothing's ever going to change that, you know what I mean? Because it's like, if you see past the matrix and shit, you gonna understand what's going on and see through the bullshit. You know what I mean? A lot of people, because I've never got why people would freaking bleach themselves and do things of that nature and whatnot. Because it's just like you have no self-love for you. You the pigment in your skin is what's helping you survive and whatnot. You know what I mean? Anyways, man, I could talk all day long about this freaking subject and whatnot because I have strong viewpoints on it. You know what I mean? But like, yo, that's self-loathing and shit, yo. You hate yourself, you know? Why would you do that, you know?
Knives in your back, 9 inches, and it's only been pulled out 6 when the wound starts healing and we stop bleeding and bleaching. Can it begin to fix when the plague of self-hate's no longer
healing? When we start to
wait so great, push you to kill one another. When we put the stop to false charity to give with one hand and bomb with the other. When the IMF World Bank, along with the puppets, no longer strangle our nations. When the invaders don't have military bases in so many places. When the jail cells not packed with black backs and the gaps and the crack are no longer factors. When we celebrate true self-determination, not a few token big part actors. When the truth is told and there is the dignity to remember the dead. As long as they're distorting the past, means they have the intention of doing it again.
Woo! You see what I say, yo? As long as they've they've distorted the past. That just means that they have the power to do it again. You know what I mean? Don't fucking sleep, bro. You know what I mean? Don't fucking sleep, bro. Just the same way as it distorted the past and whatnot, and you have to go elsewhere to find your freaking history and shit. Hey man, don't close your eyes right now. That shit could happen again and again and again. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day and whatnot, yo, just keep your eyes open. That's what he's just saying. Like, as long as there's motherfuckers, there's majority of black people in freaking prisons and things of that nature and whatnot, there could be change and whatnot, but there needs to be some Semitic changes that happen in the system and whatnot for them to be actually sustainable change and whatnot. That's what he's talking about right now. You know what I mean? Definitely on point. You know what I mean? Definitely on point. I like what he's talking about here. Some truthful shit here.
How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi. It's the Maangamizi. How many lives will be lost to the Maangamizi? It's way bigger than the pain that I place on the CD. If I told you all the truth, would you really believe me? It's the Maangamizi. It's the Maangamizi.
Yeah, man. Yeah, buddy. Yo, yo, yeah, I knew this. I knew this was gonna take long, but I didn't think it was gonna take that long because it was a 6 minute song. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, this is gonna be Scooby Snacks. It's gonna be easy. Usually the reason why his tracks take so long is because it's like usually 11 minutes, 11, 12 minutes to do and whatnot with his fire in the booths and whatnot. So, but this track right here has a lot of freaking substance in it and whatnot, and it's talking about a lot of things, and it's covering a lot of freaking layers, and he's in the way that he does it is like it's semi like a documentary and shit. He starts off from the beginning and he goes all the way up to this common day and time and whatnot, and he's like saying like on some real shit, if we want extensive change and whatnot, we gotta do the work on our own. You know what I mean? We gotta learn the lessons from the past and whatnot and build on our own and whatnot, because at the end of the day, if we're not united, you know what I mean, what they say, united we rise, divided we fall and shit. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's how they say it, but that same principle and whatnot. If we unite and we work hard on what we believe and what we want and whatnot, we can get anywhere and shit. And if we're together, you know what I mean. But if we're apart, and when I say together, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody that got that fucking foot on their freaking shoulders and their back and whatnot, and they don't want us to freaking develop the 2 cents to make it out of the system that we're in. You know what I mean? I'm talking about those people and whatnot. Not it has nothing to do with race on this shit. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day and whatnot, that's all. That's and never forget the past. You know what I mean? Never forget your past, because when you forget and whatnot, that's when other people start making their own stories and shit. You know what I mean? Anyways, yo, definitely a dope ass track and whatnot. Very deep and very focused on what's been going on in the past and what will happen in the future if we don't focus on what's going on right now. You know what I mean? So definitely another banger from your boy Akali, Akala. Oh, damn, man. Anyways, yo, I hope you guys enjoyed this track as much as I enjoyed reacting to it. You know what I mean? If you like the track, tell me about it down there in the comment section and whatnot. Tell me what your favorite line is and all that beautiful stuff. If you guys want more tracks like this, you already know what to do. Leave it down in the comment section and tell me what tracks you want. You know what I mean? And any other kind of tracks you want, leave it down there in the comment section as well. You know what I mean? If you got a thumb like this, you know what I mean? I want you guys to take your thumb and whatnot and put it all the way up to the motherfucking sky and whatnot with the thumbs up and like and whatnot. Show me some love and support in that way, if you feel me. You know what I mean? Another way you guys could show me some love and support is by subscribing to the channel right down there all day long, all day long. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. I'm going to check you guys out next time on the next video. Peace out, one love, fam. And I'm out.